It's 20 minutes before we say goodbye to you at 9 o'clock this morning. Today begins Anti-Racism Week. It's spearheaded by the Ahmed Kathrada and Neeshan Mandela Foundations. The campaign includes around 60 other organizations as well. This year the call is for people to create awareness in their communities. To tell us more, we're joined by the Executive Director of the Ahmed Kathrada Foundation, Neeshan Balton. Good to see you, Neeshan. Welcome.
Good morning. Thank you very much.
So this is the second time that Anti-Racism Week is being held here in South Africa. Firstly, let's talk about how it's been successful. Talk to us about this.
A week of this nature is really meant to get people to focus, give dedicated time and energy to understanding racism, learning about it, and then figuring out what we can do individually and collectively. And that's what we started last year.
Yeah.
Within the context of Human Rights Month. I think that's very important to emphasize. Tackling racism must be seen as part of our obligations to building a human rights culture within South Africa. And that's why we've decided to host it within this week and culminating on March 21st, which internationally is the International Day for the Elimination of Racism. And that was a date set aside by the United Nations after the Sharpeville massacre, to remind the world about the dangers of racism and the need to continuously be vigilant about it and to find ways of combating it. So this week is about getting South Africans to do a couple of things: to talk about racism, to learn about it, to act against it, and to speak out against it wherever they come across it.
Which is vitally important, because it is unfortunately a reality living in this country. There's racism all over the place, and especially I think with the advent of social media, it's given voices to people that necessarily weren't, they were maybe confined to their group of friends or a dinner table, and they would speak about things the way they do. But now it's being highlighted and elevated. Do you think it's a good thing?
What's that, social media?
No, it's social media, and the fact that we're calling out these people that are being racist, and perhaps people are realizing, hang on, this is not good. I shouldn't be doing stuff like this.
No, I think it's fundamentally important, and that's why the hashtag for this campaign is Take on Racism.
Yeah.
Because we think that if we are silent, we allow it to grow, and the more people take it on, both within the private and public spaces, we will force it to retreat, and hopefully we'll find ways of eradicating it as far as is possible. But silence will certainly not will not tackle racism or will not eradicate it in any particular way. And that's why we are very happy with the stand taken recently by somebody like Yusuf Abramji.
Yes.
That demonstrates very clearly the kind of attitude we are advocating for. If you think that there's something wrong, particularly racism and hate speech, do something about it. Take it head on. Take it to the authorities. Take it to the police stations, the equality courts, the Human Rights Commission, wherever it is. But don't be silent about issues of racism.
Absolutely. Look at it and think it'll go away.
Yes.
For those viewers that are not aware of it, it's a case that Yusuf Abramji reported to the police. I think it was this past weekend, where he saw a social media post of a guy holding a gun saying, "I use this gun to kill whites and Indians in this country." And he went ahead and he went and reported this as racism, and of course crime, the criminal element to it as well.
Yes.
But at the end of the day, there's still that question that we all battle with, is that will racism in this country ever go away? Or is it something that unfortunately, and I do say due to our past, it's the one thing that we look at and it's been inculcated in us. Can we get better?
I tend to say that racism is entrenched in the DNA of post-apartheid South Africa.
Yeah.
It's something that we must accept, that has been part of the legacy of history of colonialism and apartheid of this country. It did not and would not have disappeared in 1994. All that 1994 did was to give us the tools and the abilities to start tackling the problems that racism has given to us in this country. It will take generations, if not decades or perhaps longer, to eradicate racism in all its different manifestations in this country.
Yeah.
And we must not lose hope when we see incidents flashing up here and there and think that the fight against racism is a lost cause.
Indeed.
The struggle against apartheid was a struggle against racism. But there is post-apartheid racism that we now need to confront with the same kind of vigor and energy and determination.
Indeed. Just very quickly to end off the interview, Neeshan, how do people get involved? What activities are planned for this week?
There's a series of things happening across the country. Today we launch with the Department of Justice this wrist arm band campaign in 9 schools, and that will be rolled out across the country. The best thing for people to do is to get onto the Facebook page of the Anti-Racism Network of South Africa.
Okay.
They will find all of the details there. Follow it on Twitter as well. The Twitter handle Anti-Racism Net, as well as the Twitter handle Take On Racism. They will get all of the updates on all of the programs.
Thank you. Good luck with it. I hope it goes well, and I hope that we can get an interview with you afterwards just to find out some of the things that were highlighted and perhaps some solutions that are brought to the table by South Africans. That's the executive of the Ahmed Kathrada Foundation, Neeshan Balton, talking to us about the beginning of Anti-Racism Week that starts today. Find them on their Facebook page. You'll be able to find all the information there. All right, let's take a break. When we return, some beautiful music on this Tuesday morning. Stay tuned.